Greetings, Racketeers. Welcome to my YouTube channel. If you haven't been here before, well, welcome. This is 2019 and I'm going to be starting to make a lot of content, so get used to it. This is my Dragon Ball FighterZ tier list, so I'm by no means a professional at Dragon Ball FighterZ, but I've had experience within esports in terms of coaching, casting, and I follow games that I enjoy very intensely, and I feel like I could perhaps shed a little bit of input on the characters in this game where I feel like they are. I love this game a lot. I love the series a lot. This is why I'm probably leaning towards this more than what I would like to do on other sides of content. Of course, I'll still be making other content too, but want fire it off of Dragon Ball FighterZ first before the next season comes out. So let's give a basic definition of what this chart means. So there's top tier, low tier, has faults, and well-rounded. Top tier, these are characters, pardon me, that are going to benefit your team a lot, whether that's because they're individually good, whether it's because of their utility. These characters, when you put them on your team, they're going to perform, they're reliable, you don't have a big downside on slotting them in, they shouldn't have that much work to them. Low tier on the other end, these are characters that have a lot of work that needs to be put in order for them to become acceptable, let alone great. They take a longer time to learn, they take a longer time to optimize. It's just not worth picking these characters. Sure, you can pick them. This is Dragon Ball FighterZ. The game's in a pretty good balance state, but generally speaking, these low tier characters require a whole team built around them, and even so, you can have one character that's like top tier. You don't need to build around them as much, and you can do way more than what you could do in a low tier. Has faults and well rounded. We'll start off with has faults this time. Has faults. This is in relation to, for the most part, utility. So, can these guys do double supers? Are they good in the new snapback meta? Can they have loops? Are they able to use their assist efficiently? Well, rounded on the opposite hand, well, it's pretty much the exact opposite, as I just said before. These are characters that are very good utility-based characters that, have these hard knockdowns. They can spend their bar efficiently. They can pop up with their assist. They can use their assist for stun duration extensions. These are characters that are really going to help glue your team together. Whilst on the has faults side, it's difficult to work around them. Maybe they're better as individual as has faults, but they're not good as like a sort of team orientated pick. So, I think to start this off, we're just going to contrast what I would say the best character and the worst character of the game is, just so you can get like a spectrum at the start of the list. So the very first character we're going to put up here on the top tier, probably the best character in the game, is Piccolo. Piccolo is a character that has really developed in the snapback meta. He's received a couple of buffs in the most previous patches, and he's just generally very, very annoying to deal with. He's one of the strongest characters we've had in the game so far because it's a meta that revolves around everything that Piccolo wants, and he has everything that the meta needs, right? So with the snapbacks, he can do that. He can get you in the corner loops. He can use his bar extremely efficiently. He stacks up well with other assists. His pressure is absolutely insane. The only thing that he doesn't really have in his kit, I would say, is like a really good assist. His assist is okay, but it's not the best. It's good for pressure. It's okay for pop-ups, but it's not something that you want because you can reflect it. It's not the best for timing certain things when you have other characters on board. So you most likely want to be putting Piccolo on point. But for point, he is goddamn good at what he does. His mix-ups are absolutely insane. He is crazy as a grab. His block strings are confusing to deal with, and once he gets you in the corner and he gets his whole zone grenade out, you have to guess so many times, and you guess wrong, your other characters coming in, mix up number 2, mix up number 3. He's a crazy character in this game, and he's really annoying. So let's look at Android 17. Android 17? I always forget the Android names, despite being a really big fan of the series. So, this guy, it's unfortunate. I really like the character, but just doesn't have enough of anything, really. Off stray hits, he doesn't really even get that much damage. So, like the basic BMB with like the high-low Racquet combo that he does, you can get damage off that, but otherwise he just doesn't get any damage whatsoever. He has like the awkward thing where his level 1 super crosses up on ground. He doesn't have good utility with his assist. His supers and normals, he has like a crouching light low, which is good. But his super abilities are pretty lackluster. His mix-ups aren't real. His wall bounce thing seems like a waste of an ability to have in the slot. It's a character that doesn't really suit the game of Dragon Ball FighterZ. I feel like maybe you could thrive on like Marvel vs. Capcom, but when a game where you have super dashes, his jumping ability is like so ridiculously bad. You can down heavy it on reaction. Even when you put an assist there to make it safe, like it's still not worth it because you don't get that much damage afterwards anyway. He's a character that just doesn't fit very well. So now that we have the absolute best and the absolute worst, let's get into the meat and potatoes of this video. So, who is going to be up amongst with Piccolo? Well, this for me is pretty easy. Now, I'm pretty uncertain on whether these characters are on the same level with Piccolo, so I'm just going to put them right below him for now. But utility, Gotenks has that. He has utility everywhere in his kit. He can block stun you for a bunch. His assist, it's fantastic. His supers have synergy, which you can extend combos with in the neutral situation. He's a character that has a ridiculous amount of utility. He's a small character, which is actually a plus in this game too, considering you have characters like Broly and Nappa, bigger characters that struggle with their hitboxes. My apologies. Gotenks is a character that makes bad characters good, and he makes great characters broken, and he makes broken characters overly broken. He makes them stupid. His assist has so much block stun on it. The extension of combos. He can spend meter efficiently. He doesn't have the same sort of level 3 mix-ups and damage as he did before, but he still has really good buttons. He does have a lot, and his beam is absolutely fantastic too. You can use it in the air. So Gotenks is just a very complete character. I don't think he's on the same level of Piccolo. I think Piccolo is pretty busted at the moment. But Gotenks, he is your most reliable character in the game by far. You wanted him on your team. He's awesome. Let's add another character to this tier list. I would say that my boy Adult Gohan belongs here. Adult Gohan is sort of the opposite of, I would say, Gotenks, in that with Adult Gohan, Gohan has fantastic buttons. Doesn't have the best utility though. If Adult Gohan gets you in the corner, in a situation where he has his leveled up super as well, he's really, really, really deadly. His block strings are really long, which means that if you've pressed sparking, a lot of it's going to be wasted because his combos and the way that you have to block is going to be a lot more longer than other characters, which a lot of people don't really point out when they're referring to strengths. His damage from stray hits, fantastic, has a bunch of great base damage. This is a character that has every single component to produce a standout point character. It doesn't have the ridiculous loops that Piccolo has. That's the only thing that he's missing, and not a grab that can mix up the strings. But his strings, regardless, because of the little kicks up in the air, fantastic. But yeah, this guy is an absolutely monster of a character, especially when he gets ahead, when he levels up, gets that percentage damage, and has access to different parts of his kit. That means you have to deal with a whole different set of onslaught of movesets that Gohan can produce for the team. He's just a really overall strong character that, man, you're going to be scared of. So I'm thinking who else I should add to this tier. I'm debating it. Okay, let's take a look. So I'm going to put, is Vegeta up there? Is Vegeta up there? You know what? Okay. I'm going to rework this. I honestly think Piccolo is still the best, but just for the clean purpose of making a definitive top 3, I think it is probably these guys. Like, these guys are your best three characters in the game right now of Dragon Ball FighterZ. Two very good point characters, and one character that can just slot in anywhere you want, really. Like, Gotenks is a character that has so much utility. These are the three definitive god tier characters at the moment. We're just going to have Piccolo a little bit more up there. But damn, Piccolo is such a good character. So yeah, Piccolo should probably be the best character. So we'll just have it like this for now. You know, we'll make it a little bit cleaner. Just for the video's sake. There we go. Nice. Let's add the second tier. Now, these characters are by no means weak. They're just not absolutely broken like these guys. I think a great way to start this is to add Vegeta. We can put Gotenks a lot more on the side right over there. So Vegeta is a character that is extremely utility based. He's a character that's great from learning the game, but at the same time has a lot of nuances that can be learnt to extend combos. He has great sparking combos too. He's just a character that can really slot into any team. He has the pressure element with his assist. He has the extension element with his assist. He's a very, very strong, well-rounded character that, damn, if you're putting him on your team, you're always going to be happy. He's going to do his job 100% of the time. He's just amazing. Super Saiyan Vegeta has been in this tier for such a long time. He's been nerfed and nerfed, but he always finds a way to remain relevant in Dragon Ball FighterZ. Well, same with these guys as well. These guys have been nerfed too, but he's still a fantastic character. DP that he can wake up with. He has fantastic projectiles, which is hard to say about FighterZ. So yeah, Vegeta is extremely strong, and his utility is probably nearly on par with Gotenks. So let's take a look at the characters with Vegeta. So I probably would say that Kid Buu is up there. Now, Kid Buu is a character that has a fantastic assist too. In terms of hit stun, you can't go any better than Margin or Little Buu or Kid Buu than his assist. He's just fantastic, especially like in conjunction with Cell. It's so ridiculously difficult to block. It's just absolutely crazy. And of course, he's been nerfed a few times. That's the only reason why he's not God tier anymore. But he has still fantastic buttons. His lows are crazy, and his mix-ups are very, very real. Safe. Not much else to say really. Has good supers to use, neutrals. You can get the double supers, of course. So yeah, Kid Buu, really solid character. Not absolutely broken like he was before, but yeah, he's definitely in this tier. We talked about him before. Actually, no, we were talking about him before. Yeah, so Cell. So Cell is a character that, of course, is sort of in the same boat as Kid Buu. Like, he's a very mix-up based character. I guess the main difference is he does a bunch of damage. Of course, TODs is the name of Cell's game. If you get punished in the right scenario, your character can be dead. He has an overhead knockdown. He scales really well off his low. He has a bunch of pretty solid damn neutrals that he can really abuse with assist to cross you up. Cell is a very strong character. People have been sort of saying, oh, he's not that good anymore, but people still will be playing him in tournament play just because of how reliable he is. His level 3 is very good. His level 1's very unique. He spends bar efficiently. Just Cell is just one of those characters that won't disappear for a very long time, and he's really up there with Kid Buu. They're very, very similar characters in their power levels at the moment. A character that would be new to this... Actually, no, we'll put Bardock first. So Bardock is still a very strong character. He has a bunch of utility in that in the snapback meta, he can get the snapbacks quite efficiently. He has easy ways to knock you down. He can set you up in situations where his Lariat will beat you in conjunction with assist to make it safe, or he can vanish. He's a character that is quite one-dimensional in that he can really only go all in, but at the same time, he's so efficient at what he does in that, yeah, he has pretty strong mix-ups. He has decent damage. He doesn't have the godlike level 3 like he did before, but he can spend the meter just as well as he could. His meter spend is just so ridiculously efficient, and he's just going to be a character that can just slot in on your team any day of the week when he builds the bar. He's just so great at that. He doesn't have the sort of the long projectile game or Kamehameha like the rest of the characters on this tier list does, but that just proves how strong the character is, missing like one of the most powerful fundamental tools of the game for him to still remain this relevant. So Bardock is still definitely up there. So one character that I believe belongs on this part is actually Android. What's her name? This is Android 18, I believe. Or was it 16? I get confused, lads, every single time. Anyway, this android is very, very strong in this current meta. She's fantastic at mixing you up. And of course, we have to mention snapback meta. She does it really, really well. She can spend meter efficiently. Probably has the best current level 3 in the game, post-game mix-up. The only real big downside from a kit is that she has a lackluster assist. Like, it's okay for like pressuring in the corner if like they have something that they want to wake up with, but still you'd rather like a pressure assist or a pop-up assist any day of the week, so it's not that good of an assist, and her abilities are okay. She doesn't have the best projectile game, but everything in relation to when she gets you in the corner, that's when she starts getting really dangerous. She doesn't have the best mid-screen presence in the row, but once she starts snowballing, she's extremely dangerous and she's efficient at what she does. She's an absolute menace in this game currently, and she's escalated a couple of tiers just because of that. So yeah, I think another character that belongs in this tier is this android. I believe this is... So that's Android 17, that's Android 18. This is Android... I'm pretty sure this is Android 16. I'm like certain on that. So Android 16 is... He's been nerfed quite a lot. He would be up there if it wasn't for the post-level 3 mix-up nerf and the fact that he's been changed a variety of different times in terms of hit stun on his assist and his neutral game. But still, his down heavy is fantastic. His armor really helps him. He still does a bunch of damage. He's one of the few command grab characters in this game that can really mix you up efficiently. He's just a really great person to have on your team. He's a very strong android. I'm not going to say, you know, the exact android because I'm sure I'll be flamed. I'm pretty sure it's everything. But yeah, he's just great. His assist got nerfed, but it's still pretty good in terms of pressure once you get in the corner. He's level 3 in the corner, still really, really strong. He's just not as strong as he was before because of the nerf. So, but he's still like this tier. Now, this is when things get a little bit more interesting. Okay, so I think Goku could be debated to be up here. Maybe, maybe not. You know what? We're lowering Vegeta a tier because I think these guys are reasonably similar. But they both deserve to be very high in terms of the utility, and they're very close in being up in this tier with these guys. I think these characters are better individually, but utility, these guys are better over here. So Goku, hard knockdowns are so easy to get. He's very good off sparking combos. He can gather meter very efficiently. Once again, same reason as Bardock, he can use his level 1 to 1 very well on using his income of meter perfectly. Level 3, of course, not the best in the game, but he gets a decent mix-up afterwards despite the cross change. But otherwise, you know, I think Goku still is one of those characters that will never disappear from the game. He's just so incredibly reliable. He's not broken because he doesn't have the most flashiest mix-ups in the game. Like, he's pretty stock standard in terms of what he can do, but he does everything that the base game does at the highest level. He just doesn't have anything extra that makes him like a standout character and makes him like ridiculously broken. I still think, yeah, I think that's the same with Vegeta, to be honest. That's why I moved him down below here. We're also going to be adding Tien to this tier. Now, maybe people are going to be surprised at this, but I think Tien is a character that is reasonably weak, but is so good at what he does. That's why he warrants a slot. Of course, he does a lot of damage with the meter that is presented to him as an anchor. He scales so well of having everything available to him. He's what people call a shotgun character, when he can just burst you down with not even being on the screen. His assist is pretty solid. People say that his assist is like okay. I think it's like above average. He has easy access to knockdowns. He's just a very, very solid character. Once again, not broken, but his utility in terms of supers is so ridiculously good that itself just makes him an efficient character at what he does, and makes TODs a lot more easier too, since his supers are that much more damaging than the others. So yeah, Tien's a great character. Do we have any more characters on this tier list that we could add? I don't think so. I think we can probably... Okay, actually. Let's put Vegeto here. I think Vegeto is currently a very underrated character, in that I think he's really, really good in the snapback meta. Why? Because one, he can snap back, and two, since sparking is going to be a lot more valuable because you want to get yourself out of these corner situations, Vegeta is so good at keeping you in block stun for ages. If the enemy just sparks, by the time your combo ends twice in a row with a rotation, majority of it's gone. He keeps you in stun lock for so long. He uses meter efficiently with the buffs. He does a bit more damage, which wasn't a problem with Vegeta anyway. He still does a bunch of damage. But yeah, he deserves to be up here because as a character that can be supported, he can really keep you in a negative situation for so long. Sure, he doesn't have a crazy mix-up by any means, but the matter of, like, the talking point here is that he just works very well currently and in what is in the game for the latter stages of Season 1. So yeah, maybe that's an unpopular opinion, but I know he's been seeing a lot of play in Japan. Australia has been picked a bunch too, which doesn't really mean much. But yeah, so I think Vegeta is a pretty efficient character. Of course, he doesn't have the best assists, which is why he's not, like, being over here. Don't worry, we'll sort out these guys in terms of well-rounded and has faults a little bit better to make things easier to understand. But yeah, so Vegeto, he's a fine character. He's pretty goddamn good in my opinion. So this next tier, I think it's going to be pretty easy. These are the characters that they're not exactly the strongest, but they have a little bit of work to make them good. But if you're good at them, they can be really good. So yeah, let's kick this off with Captain Ginyu. Captain Ginyu is a character that has a lot of faults, don't get me wrong, but he's such a snowbally character. He hits you like a truck. He's a barrage once he gets you in the corner. Once he's backed up by an assist and he sets up the Ginyu force, it brings him to so many good situations once he gets you there. The problem is he has to get you there. He doesn't have the best neutral game. And his meter spendage is questionable since he doesn't have a true level 3. But yeah, he still does his job very, very efficiently in being such a good pressure character on point. But yeah, not the best assist in the game, but if he does get you where he wants, Captain Ginyu turns into a character that is like up here. The problem is why he's all the way down here is when he's behind, he's very lackluster because he doesn't have the best, like, he doesn't have wake-ups that are good, and he finds it very difficult mid-screen to convert a lot easier a lot harder than what other characters would. So that's why Ginyu is over there. But otherwise, he's a character that is practiced a lot and can be utilized, has so much tech around him. That's why he's being played a lot more often than what he used to. Of course, he's received a few buffs as well. I'm going to be putting Yamcha in this tier. So Yamcha is a character that I think is a little bit controversial on everyone's tier list because some people can have him like as high as here and some people can have him as low as there. I'm going to be the person in the middle ground. not going to be too controversial. Maybe some people would think that's a little bit harsh. Maybe people would think it's a bit kind. But the reality is, the thing that people tend to agree on is that he's not the best character when you're just looking at his base kit, right? His assist is absolutely crazy in terms of its utility. He can spend bar ridiculously well, but as an individual, he can do comebacks by himself with sparking really well. But otherwise, he's not very good in terms of his mix-up potential. His lows are like lackluster. He can get you in knockdown situations, but his mix-ups aren't the best. He has a cross-up, which is good. But Yamcha is a character that just finds it difficult converting compared to like other characters on this tier list. So maybe it's a bit controversial having him over here, but I think he deserves to be here because he can make or break teams just because of how much utility he has with his supers and his assists. So yeah, which we might put him a little bit better over here. We're not going to put him over here as well-rounded because I don't think he's like at the same caliber. Well-rounded means that they have to be a reasonable individual character too, which isn't true, but just for the fact that he can spend meter efficiently and sparking and assist, he can be moved up despite being an awful character by himself. Who are we going to put with these lads? I think we can put Zamasu here. So Zamasu is another character that a lot of people disagree with in terms of where to put him. I think Zamasu is probably in one of his stronger states right now. Not the strongest, because when he first came out, a lot of people thought he was like way better than Vegeta, but I think some people are realizing that, yeah, sure, he wasn't as insane as people thought he was, but I still think he's pretty good considering this is a meta where snapbacks are really fantastic to abuse. And he has, of course, corner loops. He's fantastic using supers. He can get you in pretty clean mix-ups with the right assists, but he also has fantastic snapbacks. He's not definitely Piccolo tier, but he still has that utility, right? So Mode Zamasu is still a very strong character. He has pretty decent utility. His supers are pretty great, but he's nothing special on his own. This is what, of course, Yamcha had the problem with. This is the problem that Ginyu doesn't have. So you can see like there's already a contrast in this tier list as to where these strengths lie within these individual characters, which I think is pretty cool for Dragon Ball FighterZ. I'm going to be putting Android 21 on this tier. So the reason why I put Android 21 here is because she's a character that does a bunch of damage, like absolutely crazy damage. When she has assists, and when she has a bunch of meter with the TODs, you can convert so easily. Her neutrals are great. Problem is she doesn't have the most utility. Her assist is pretty lackluster. Her grab isn't the most reliable thing in the world, but once she gets you, man, she's converting a bunch of damage over from her end, and she hits like a truck, and she's really scary to get if she gets you on that stray, and she converts. She has that knockdown to get you through. Man, she is a fantastic character if you can get some momentum behind your back, but of course nothing too special, because that's the only thing she has going for her. I don't think she's special in any other regard. So I'm pretty sure that is going to be it for that tier. Let's go to the next tier, which is the base. Okay, actually, yeah, no, let's go to the next tier. So this is the baseline tier. I think a great way to start this tier is to put... You know what? I'm putting Goku Black on this tier. Beam assist is really strong. His mix-ups aren't true, but they start getting a lot more efficient in the fact that once you have the assist, because a lot of the time people were playing him anchor, especially at the start of the game, but now he's developed him more like a point character. He can play anywhere on the team. That's why I'm rating him this high. And that can be very valuable when constructing something, because your supers are extremely solid. The problem is his mix-ups aren't the most efficient. That's the main problem, right? But man, Goku Black, he's a character that I love so much. I would love to put him higher on this tier list, but the reality is a lot of his stuff is unsafe. And you have to have the assists in the bank to make him safe. When he's by himself, you have to like try and improvise with a lot of things, and you have to make a very good read and outplay your opponent significantly. He can convert well. He has a really good jumping heavy, but yeah, his normal abilities aren't the best. He doesn't have an air beam, but he does have a nice Kamehameha regardless, and that grab can catch people off guard despite being like pretty unsafe. But yeah, Goku Black I think does deserve to be in this tier. Is he like as good as Ginyu, Zamasu, Yamcha? I'm not too sure, but look, we'll just have him here for now. On the mid tier, we're going to spread out a few guys here. I think Frieza deserves to be here. Once again, Frieza is a character that people can have up here or down here. He's been very polarizing. I'm once again going to be the safe person here. I think Frieza's a fine character. The problem is he's so unique in that you have to develop so much tech learning him. It's not really that worth it. So I'm going to be putting him in the middle just for the fact that, okay, he does have some pretty crafty things, but you have to work so hard to achieve it. But once you do achieve it, I think he's certainly a fine slot to have in either of your teams. His assist is underestimated. I think it's actually pretty good. Especially if you know your range properly and you have characters that can measure distance very well. He's one of the few characters in this game that has a fantastic projectile game. Of course, you know, you have so many tools to work around that, but Frieza has good anti-air tools, and if you can build a character that can defend against Frieza very well with Frieza, then you know you have a decent shot at making him work. So yeah, you can convert, of course, with the Golden Frieza, make things a lot more difficult, a lot of different combos that you can expand. So yeah, Frieza deserves to be there. I'm going to put Broly here as well. So Broly is a character that I really want to put higher. I'm not going to lie, but Broly is a character that's been seeing a lot more play recently. Like, it was a character that got touched a little bit on release, but sort of got ditched. And now he's been having a little bit of a resurgence. Broly is not by any means like a bad character. I think he's pretty fair. The problem is his conversions, of course, are a little bit more difficult because of like the harder access of a reliable knockdown, and his level 1 is pretty difficult to optimize around, and his level 3, of course, is unique as well. So he has a pretty unique kit in what you want to achieve. He's sort of like Frieza in that you have to build certain things around in order to work. Now, his mix-ups aren't the most real, but for the most part, you will get caught by his command grab in the corner. His different statuses of the light, medium, and heavy can catch you off guard in terms of their speed. You can buffer with the heavy into an assist to mix stuff up that way. He's great with loops as well, so it has been recently discovered and can convert meter in a pretty reasonable standard for this game as well. So yeah, he's an okay character. He's nothing too special. He's a character that I love thematically, but I don't think he's with the big guys, unfortunately. But yeah, he's a strong character, but he is just too unique and different to warrant really trying to invest in. These other different characters right above him, I feel like they have a little bit more upside, and once they do get ahead, like, you just lose. Probably even when he gets ahead, his damage isn't that crazy. So yeah, that's the unfortunate thing about Broly. So I'm putting Cooler here. Now, Cooler is a character that I play a bunch, so he has pretty good synergy in this meta. His DP can switch you to either side, which means that if you want to snap back someone, you can reliably get them back into the corner so long as you're within that distance. That's one thing that a lot of people don't really take consideration of, in that you can bounce them back, you can cover it with an assist, you can go for like a dive kick to make it safe and get really good pressure afterwards. This is someone who's been pretty underestimated for a while, I believe. Well, I think on release people thought Cooler was a little bit stronger. He's just generally a very safe character. The problem is, like, his mix-ups, he doesn't get the most efficient damage out of them. He's efficient with them, but he doesn't get the most efficient damage. Like, he can convert into knockdowns very easily. His conversions are fantastic. The problem is his level 1 does a lot of damage, but it doesn't remain on the same side. Same with his level 3. Level 3, of course, is a little bit more of a difficult one to work around. So yeah, Cooler's character that I want to put above, but I just can't. He has the basic hits, but he just has little flaws that makes him not special or want to build a team around him. His assist after the nerf is a lot less good than what it used to be, because you could just use it as a get out of jail free card once you're in pressure. Now it's a little bit difficult to get a conversion off, to be honest. So yeah, that's not a good part of his kit. But either way, I still think he has reasonable utility in that he can get hits off stray combos, off vanishes really well, easy knockdowns, and he can put you in the corner really easily. So yeah, if you have a team that heavily relies on wanting to get corner pressure, I think that Cooler's really good in reliably getting them to where you want them to be. So yeah, Cooler's a pretty cool character, but he's nothing special really. That's why he's in the middle tier list. I'm going to put Goku Blue in this tier list. Now, I was considering putting him in the one above, and I'm still considering it now, but I still think his mix-ups are pretty reactable. The good thing is his strings can be pretty long with the right assists, and that means you can waste more sparking time, and he converts into hard knockdowns really easily, which means that he can get consistent setups, and he's really good once he gets in the corner. The problem is, like, his neutral is a little bit clunky. His abilities are pretty much reactable for the most part. His command grab did get a buff, but I don't think he's like broken by any means. I think he's now fair from being bad. I think you could make a debate on him being in this tier. So I'm either way. Like, he's halfway for me, to be honest. Goku Blue. I'm still debating because I've played a little bit of Goku Blue, and he generates a pretty good snowball himself, and he can get good super damage. So yeah, I think he's sort of similar into Broly though. His mix-ups aren't really as true as what they could be, and they're not scary, but if they do get momentum, like, yeah, these characters are pretty good. If you have the right team, you can build them around. Goku Blue's assist is actually a little bit better than what people give him credit for. If you have the right team, it can be utilized very well, and it can be great for pressure extensions in the corner. So yeah, Goku Blue should be over there. This is a character that I'm not very familiar with, to be honest. Fat Buu, Margin Buu should probably be in this tier, though. I haven't really versed much. I haven't really seen too much. Of course, he does have resets available, and he has a pretty decent projectile game, actually, for this game. So I'm not the expert with this character by any means. In fact, I'm a little bit flabbergasted as to where to put him, but from doing a little bit of research prior to this, I think for the most part a lot of people would agree that he stands around this sort of area and being a fair character, but he just isn't that special enough because he doesn't get like any crazy damage, but he does have like that vortex potential in the resets, and you have to start guessing and you have to be on your toes, which does warrant him to be in a sort of dangerous slot, but it isn't that insane because he doesn't have the sort of easiest conversions, and you need to get them into that place because his normals are a little bit clunky sometimes. So yeah, sorry, there's a fly. I'm going to put Hit in this. No, sorry, that's not Hit. That is Buras. I'm going to put here in this tier. So I'm going to put you. His face is not really that well rounded, to be honest. He doesn't have that good of utility. A lot of these guys are going to be shuffled to the left here because majority of these guys actually don't have very good utility. But yeah, like, Hit is very strong when you have the right support staff around him. I think, Sonic Fox has shown us that. He has very good tech up against air controls, and he can set a very good pace for a match. He's very good at countering the opponent, I've noticed, in that he gets fantastic moves off reflex. So if you're someone who is very reactive and likes to play off the opponent. I think Hit's a very good character since he has counters and he can convert off reflex really, really well. And he's a very high skill cap character. Problem is, I don't think he's as insane as the rest of the cast. Like, I think he could be in here. Like, you probably could debate that. But yeah, Hit doesn't have the best projectile game, and the aerial game is a little bit lackluster too. And his super can be level 1 super can be a little bit awkward for the side cross up. But yeah, I think this is probably where Hit belongs. Hit's a solid character. I don't think he's insane, but when you see a very good Hit, man, like, the character can be very, very strong. So yeah, you can debate for him to be up here, but he does require a little bit of work in order for him to get going. So this is interesting for the rest of these characters. Okay, so I think base Vegeta is another character that I'm not 100% sure with. I'm going to have him in this tier though, because he can gather meter very efficiently because his kit and combos just allow that to happen. His level 3 mix-ups in the corner are fantastic. He can get good key blast loops that generate him a bunch of bar. Problem is, I don't think he's better than the other Vegeta, Super Saiyan Vegeta, because he doesn't have the same utility. Has a fair amount of damage, and he has, the decent neutral. His projectile's okay, but he doesn't have the same sort of aerial pressure that the other Vegeta has. Maybe a little bit of a better ground game, but he doesn't have the DP, so I don't think he's as good by any means, but I don't think he's weak. I think he's pretty fair. You could probably maybe debate that he should be on the upper tier too, but look, I'll have to maybe reconsider that, or maybe try learning a little bit of him to gather a better grasp as to what he's all about. So for this tier, I'm going to have Beerus, Nappa, Trunks. Trunks could be a little bit controversial. Actually, I'm putting Trunks there. So Trunks is like the jack of all trades character, but master of none. He's one of his weakest proponents is his mix-up potential, in that he can mix you up, but you get like nothing off it. Like, it's kind of disappointing. His level 3 does a bunch of base damage. He can convert well off sparking combos. He's has a fantastic assist, but he's just not a character that has anything too special. Like, fine ground game. He's just like lackluster. He's solid. He's not bad, but he doesn't have like the special tools to make him stand out for the mix-up game. So yeah, that's probably why he's over here. I'm gonna put him over there in terms of utility, because he does have like a fair amount of utility. His assist is pretty gosh down good. This will probably be my tier for like lower tier. In fact, we'll sort this out. This is probably going to be our definitive tier list. We can adjust the good and the bad support or whatever in a bit. But yeah, let's talk about the changes that we just made. So Beerus, he's gotten buffed a bunch. Now the problem is he still has a very bad standing jab, and his neutral still remains to be very short range. Now, he has a cross-up built with his auto combo. He has great knockdown situations where he can get you into mix-up, especially with an assist. His level 3 in the corner is fantastic. His level 1 generates a bunch of utility. But the problem is he's just basic neutral mid-screen situations aren't very good whatsoever. And in a game that relies so much off tempo, momentum, for me, Beerus, it's difficult for him to get off the ground. But when he does, yeah, sure, he can be like Captain Ginyu, where he's a win more. But it's even more difficult for Beerus than it is for Ginyu to get to that place, I think. So this is why Beerus is over here. In fact, we can scoot him a little bit. In fact, I think all these characters have pretty bad utility. So yeah. Let's talk about Teen Gohan. I was debating for Teen Gohan to be above, but since the nerf, I feel like you should probably be down here. I haven't been up against a lot of Teen Gohans recently, and he's been seeing a decreasingly amount of play as well. But he's a character that I still think can be played at a reasonable level. It's just his combos are so unique, and he's nowhere near as good as his other counterparts in Adult Gohan or Gotenks. But I'm not 100% sure of this lad either. I have to do a little bit more investigation. I think he could probably go over here, but I think I'm going to keep him up there, down here for now. Vegeta Blue. I am sort of on the same page as Rufamonger when talking about Vegeta Blue. Vegeta Blue is strong when he gets you into the right scenario. He can get pretty big damage too. He's fantastic with Gotenks assist. There's some nice synergies of Yamcha too. The problem is, it's just he's not nearly as good as the other Vegetas. As an individual character, he's weak. When he operates with assists, he gets stronger, but he has to operate with two strong assists. It's not like you can have one strong assist and one mediocre assist. You have to have two very supporting assists for this guy to be at his top level. When that happens, he can be a character over here, but you're investing into a character that I feel like if you're going to have that game plan, you should probably just play Cell instead, or like Bardock or something. They just do it so much better than what Vegeta Blue does. I think he's a fun character. I think he's a little bit underrated by people because when you do put in the yards, he can be pretty scary. It's just putting in the yards isn't exactly worth it, and it doesn't seem like it's the best way to really maximize the way that you're playing Dragon Ball FighterZ. I think it is a little bit of a waste of time. He's a cool character in terms of his design, but man, yeah, I just don't think he's up to scratch. Nappa, the big clap boy. He's sort of like Ginyu, but on a lesser scale. And that when he pops off, damn, he pops off. It's just he's not as reliable as Ginyu. And when you have this sort of playstyle, you need to be that good at what you do. And Nappa, sure, he's fantastic once he gets you into the corners, but it's just not as deadly as Ginyu. He can convert his meter pretty well, though. And he has a decent assist and an alright projectile game too. He's close to middle tier, but he just doesn't have sort of the standard mix-ups by himself as a character, and he has the sort of Vegeta Blue syndrome in that he needs a bloody bunch of work in order for him to operate. And there's a bunch of Nappa one-tricks out there that are probably like raging their spoons at the screen, but I think that is the reality. I have a lot of respect for Nappa players, and he's gone from over here to over here, so he's slowly been escalating in Dragon Ball FighterZ. He could be, up there soon, but as of now, I think there are better ways to reliably convert your mana rather than going for some setups that don't go into a snapback. So it's not a very good meta for Nappa at the moment. He could go for some like mix-up grabs to make things a lot more scarier, but I just don't think he's worth the time in trying to learn. So, Krillin. Krillin is a character that I think is underrated. You know what? I could put Krillin over here. It's debatable. You know what? I'm putting Krillin over here. No, I'm not. Yeah, I'm putting Krillin over here. Okay. So, Krillin can convert into double supers pretty well. Once he gets you into the corner of his solid flare, he can get some good resets on his combos. The problem is he has such a trash down heavy, and his neutral game is very lackluster. He can get you into hard knockdown situations pretty well, and if you have great assists like a Vegeta or a Yamcha, you're going to be in block stun for quite a while, which means that sparking isn't going to be as efficient versus you. So that's great. So Krillin can do that very well. It's just his neutral sort of sucks. He has alright projectiles. His Kamehameha isn't the best, but it's there. But yeah, he just doesn't have the sort of fundamentals that a lot of these characters over here have, and nothing too special. He's a situational character that once he can get rolling, he can make it difficult to make it difficult to block. But even if he opens you up, he's not going to give you like ridiculous damage or resets, even like Nappa would. So that's why I think it should be over there. And on the two lowest characters in the game, we have Android 17, I believe, and and Base Goku. Well, the problem is with this fellow android is that he finds it very difficult to convert off vanish combos, which is a huge problem. He doesn't have any good projectiles either, and he's a character that doesn't really use his meter in the most efficient way either. So he doesn't have like the basic fundamentals of Fighter Z at all. In fact, he belongs in a game like Marvel vs. Capcom with his stupid jump thing, super dashes, and longer down heavies make this guy completely useless. His Racquet, sure, you can get great damage if you're in the right scenario at the right time, but you're not going to have that situation too often. And if you're behind, he doesn't have anything to wake up with. He's a character that needs a lot of work in order to be efficient. He just needs his good parts of his kit, which, to be honest, he doesn't have that many of them, to be absolutely broken in order for him to actually function as a decent character, or for his bad parts to be acceptable for that to happen. So yeah, his level 3 is fine. His level 3 is pretty good, but yeah, feels bad for this android lad. Base Goku has the problem of having two very unique supers. When they can be in the right team, they get a lot better. His Kaioken can be utilized if he's on the later part of the team, but anchor slots, I feel like that's a pretty hard slot to debate against right now, so you wouldn't put him there, and I feel like the other ones you can change a lot better, but then his Kaioken becomes a lot more unreliable. His neutral ability game isn't very strong. He can grab you, but you don't get too much of it. He can get decent loops in the corner, I guess, to accumulate meter, but what are you using that meter for, you know? The supers can be powerful in the right situation, but it is a ton of work to get that down. Of course, he needs to work on getting his level 3 Spirit Bomb in order to get that consistently. But even then, man, like, getting that big chunk of damage is not better than just a flat out snapback. So it's an unfortunate meta for characters that want to do like that instant bit of damage like Base Goku can, because with his Kaioken finish, he can't go for like that quick setup because he has a sort of like breathing period at the end of it to make things a lot more difficult. So yeah, this isn't a good time for Base Goku at all. I wish he was good as a character because I feel like they nailed the design and he just looks so like fluid and smooth in game. But yeah, he doesn't deserve to be there, I don't think. So yeah, sorry for those burps, but I think this is like a reasonable selection in terms of rounding these guys off. Tell me if you guys disagree with anything, agree with anything. This is what I'm going to have as a finalized one. Once again, I am no professional at this game by any means, but I do watch a bunch of it. I do play a lot of it, so I thought I wanted to make some content related around a game that I really do enjoy to play. I'm new to the fighting genre as well, so if I'm getting terms wrong or if I'm repeating myself, I do apologize. I'm trying to expand myself. But yeah, I love this game. I think it's pretty well balanced for what it is, and I just generally like Dragon Ball in general. So yeah, hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you have any agreements, any disagreements, feel free to tell me. If you want to see more content like this, subscribe, like the video, and go for it. Do what you want. I hope you guys have a fantastic weekend or whatever day it is right now. I don't even count the days anymore. Maybe it's a Monday coming into Tuesday. So yeah, there we go. You're listening to me out of all people. But thank you for watching this video. Have a good one. Take care.